Test. 1, 2, 3, test. I forgot to tell you the topic. You become part of what you are around. I'm sure you've all heard that. We become part, got kids in the house. 6 of them, 5 of them. I don't know, there's always extra kids over here. You become part of what you are around. Now, a lot of times people use that in a bad way. Like they say, if you hang around a bunch of drug addicts or losers, you're going to be a loser. But the reverse of that is also just as true. If you hang around with successful people and whatever you desire to be successful in, you too will become successful because you will pick up their habits, their traits, and you will develop your personality into something similar to them. You don't want to copy people exactly, but you take what they have that you like and leave the rest. And you incorporate that into your personality. And you really don't have to do that consciously, although you can, but you will actually incorporate their personality into yours without even trying. If you spend enough time talking to them, reading their books, watching their YouTube channels. Now, you have to take action. So what will happen if you spend time around these people or reading their books, their literature, listening to the YouTube channels, their speaking engagements, whatever it happens to be, you will incorporate that subconsciously, and situations will arise in your life, opportunities for you to use what you have learned. You will know intuitively what to do. Now, what happens sometimes is fear stops you. You begin to rationalize all the reasons why you shouldn't take action. Now that's your rational mind, which really only accomplishes 5% of what you do during the day. Your subconscious mind is like the part of the iceberg under the water that you don't see. That is what is really running your life. And that is what tries to run your life by these intuitive nudges to take action. But then that little 5% tip of the iceberg stops you because it's afraid and starts lining up all the reasons why you shouldn't take that risk to start that business, why you shouldn't approach that girl, why you shouldn't jump out of that airplane because you always wanted to parachute, why you shouldn't climb that mountain, why you shouldn't train for that race, why you shouldn't get into the ring. That was one for me years ago. I spent so much time and effort training because I wanted to be the best. Now, we all hear these stories about Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. These guys stand for hours and hours at the gym or whatever it happens to be. Now, this is true, but you can train so much that you leave your game or your fight in the gym. And I did that many times. I did not fight as many times as a lot of guys that were in the gym where I was because I was always hurt, I was sick, because I always had to do one more round. As I grew and matured years later, I realized that I didn't need to go to the gym 5 days a week, spar and work out an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes every night. Because I had an extremely physical job. I was cutting wood and doing construction work all day. So I was wearing myself out and getting up and running every morning. And then, excuse me just a minute, someone's trying to call me. Getting up every morning and then trying to work out extremely hard every day. So I didn't fight as much because I was usually injured or I was sick. We can push ourselves too hard. That's the 5% mind trying to make things happen. Now, my coach used to tell me, you don't need to come here every day and work out, but I didn't listen. See, that's God trying to speak to you through other people. You get messages everywhere. The question is, are you listening or are you trying to run life on your self-will? So when you spend time around people that are what you want to be, people that you feel are above you, at least in the curriculum or the activities or business that you want to aspire to, these ideas and intuitive nudges will come to you, but you have to take the action. Also, you will get these intuitive ideas and nudges to keep you away from certain things or to slow you down or to tell you to relax and take a break. If you're running yourself into the ground, if you're burning the candle at both ends, guess what happens? The candle burns out, and you will too. You got to stay fresh. When you're pushing yourself so hard that you can't hardly make it, that's you trying to make things happen. When you got this powerhouse inside of you that will do it for you if you just learn how to cooperate with it. I tell people when I speak, and I speak a lot, that the biggest job and the hardest job, the most difficult job I have to do when I get up every day is just to allow life to happen. Now, some of you might say, God, Mark, you got to do something. You got to take action. I am a man of action. I believe in action. Faith without works is dead, okay? Belief without action is dead. But I'm talking about inspired action. Or sometimes you don't feel too inspired. Then you just do the next right thing. It may not be anything big. It may be go down and wash the damn dishes. It may be clean your room. It may be fix your bed. But this right action will lead you to something else. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, how can making my bed, washing the dishes, or whatever lead me to my next goal or to my dream? I'll give you an example of how this works. I may have told this story before, but this happened recently. We hit a little bit of a slow spot working. I want to keep my employees busy. So, I can get on the phone, start calling people, sending out messages. Hey, I'm a little slow. And I probably sent out a few messages. I have advertising. I have everything in place, okay? But I was driving home, and there's an old man that lives down the street. His name is Frank. He's quite the player. He's always got a different woman there. He's like 80 years old. He's got a red Impala. He keeps that thing shine. It's a beautiful car. Spick and span, clean. So we were driving by, and the ambulance was there, and I seen Frank out there, and they were putting someone into the ambulance. I always wave at him when I go by. I'll stop and say hi and pass the time of day with him occasionally because I run by there. Well, and my daughter was with me, and she said that it looked like he was crying or he was really upset. And I thought, man, I need to go back and see what's going on, see if he's okay. So I went home, and he kept bugging me, and I had some things to do. So I drove back down there about an hour later, and he was gone. So I figured he probably went to the hospital or wherever with whoever was there. I thought maybe his girlfriend died. So it still was on my mind, pushing me, nudging me that I needed to go down there and talk to him. So I went down there the next day, and I think he was out on the porch. Or maybe I knocked on the door. I can't remember. But we sat out on the porch, and I said, hey, Frank, what's going on? Well, anyway, his woman, he had almost fallen down the steps, and his woman was behind him, and she tried to help him. Well, she fell and broke her hip. So that's what happened. So we sat there and talked for a while, and I had given a bid on his house like a year before. But he doesn't own the house, he just rents. So usually landlords don't want to spend the type of money, the amount of money that I charge, because landlords just want to maintain the place, and I do a specific upper end type job work. That's what I do. I don't let things go. I want to do it right. So I had given him a bid, and he never got back from me. But Frank said, well, when are you going to pay my house? I said, well, I don't know, buddy. I gave your landlord the bid, never heard back from him. Well, I got his phone number. I can give it to you. And I thought, of course, I'm thinking, I really don't want to call him, because if he wanted it done, he would get it done. So he gives me his phone number, and I thought, what the hell, I'll call him up. Maybe we can work something out. So I don't solicit business. I usually wait till they solicit me, and then I'll go there and spend time with them. I don't try for the hard sale. I just give them the information. I get to know the people, and I gain their confidence, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I just do it because that's who I am. I like people. I want the best for my clients, and somehow they pick that up. I don't tell them that. They just pick it up. They get it from the type of person, from my inner man, we'll say. So I go ahead and call his landlord, and I say, hey, Frank wanted me to call you. And he said, well, yeah, I want to paint the house, just don't want to spend that much money on it. I said, well, maybe I can cut you a deal. I said, we're a little slow. Anyway, we worked out a deal where I got to keep my guys working, and we made a little money on the job, kept us busy, kept the cash flow going. And it was only like a block away from my house, so that was great. We could walk to work. But the whole point of this is I listened to my intuitive nudge. I had no inclination or idea that I would be getting a job from it. That was not why I went there. I went there out of genuine concern for my neighbor, and I thought maybe I could lift him up a little bit or help him out if he was down. I thought his girlfriend probably had passed away, because they're old, both of them. So, but that wasn't it. But I went there, as I said, with a humanitarian. I went there to be helpful, okay? And what happened? I ended up getting work, which I needed. So that's how life works. You never know what doing or what taking action on your intuitive nudges or those thoughts that you have that won't go away. By taking action on them, you never know what that's going to lead you to. Now, let's say I just went down there and I didn't get a job out of the deal. I wasn't expecting it anyway. But still, that would have changed the whole course of my life. Because had I not gone there, I would have been in different places, talking to different people at different times. So you have to remember that. Someone once told me, take a different way home. I don't know, what's that? Because we are creatures of habit. We do the same things every day, every day, every day. For example, maybe you get up in the morning, you drink your coffee, you read, or you sit there and watch TV, whatever you do. You do the same thing every day, the same way every morning. Well, how about tomorrow you get up and you read first and then drink your coffee? That seems like a silly thing. But just like driving a different way home, if you go to a certain store every day, or if you drive home from work, if you have a job, the same way every day, why not go a different way? Yes, it may take longer, but go a different way. This can change the whole course of your life. I know a lot of you think, well, what difference is that going to make? I'll be late getting home. Yes, it will, but it changes. You're a creature of habit. And if you continue to do what you've been doing every day, day in, day out, you're going to continue to get what you've been getting day in, day out. It's just the way it works. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So try that. Try driving a different way home. If you want something different, you have to think something different. If you want something better, you have to have better thoughts. If you want better women, you have to make yourself better. You only attract what you are, not so much what you want. So what are you? Do you know what you are? And back to the original topic. If you want to become something that you're not today, spend time listening to, talking to, watching the people who you want to become like. Not so you can emulate them exactly, but so you can take the parts of them that fit your personality and mold that into the unique person that you are. You have greatness in you. I know you've all heard that. Anything that you desire, you can become, but you have to be persistent. You have to be consistent. You have to have tenacity and perseverance. Persistence is all powerful. Never give up. Don't give up. You may change directions, you may move around certain obstacles, but don't give up. Even if you don't get to the goal that you have set for yourself, and you do have a set goal, right? You do have a written goal. Less than 1% of the people have written goals. You want to be in the top 1%? Write down your goal. And with that being said, what is your story? Is your story, Here, I can tell you my story. Well, I could tell it two ways. The first way is disempowering. Well, I grew up, my dad was an alcoholic, and he never told me he loved me, and they never even hugged me. I never remember them hugging me. He whipped my ass a lot. I was always afraid of my father. He came home from work, I'd go out of the house. I just never had much of a relationship growing up, never knew love, never saw any affection between mom and dad. And I drank most of my life too, and got to be about 30, I quit drinking, and here I am. I got 6 kids. Well, I got actually had 10 kids, but I got 5 kids living with me now. I've had to raise them by myself, and boy, it's been tough, man. But I'm getting them. One day they'll be out of the house, and then I'll have some time to myself. Okay, that's a short version of a disempowering story. Let me tell you another story. Man, I tell you what. It was tough growing up. My dad was tough. He was a World War II veteran, Korean War veteran. He used to whip my ass. But I tell you what, him being as tough as he was gave me a persistence, a tenacity, a perseverance that I would not have had in any other way. I learned how to fight when I was a kid because my dad wouldn't give a shit if somebody beat me up. He'd tell me to take a big stick and go out there and do something to him. I always wanted my dad to take up for me, and he wouldn't do it. You know what I learned from that? I learned to stand on my own 2 feet. I learned how to fight. I became an amateur and a professional boxer. I can go anywhere in the world now, and I'm not afraid. Well, some places I'd need a gun. You get the point, okay? I've been married 4 times, and I've learned so much from each of those marriages. Went through custody battles. Now I'm able to use that to help other men to avoid those situations, or to get them through it, or get them out of it. And when I do that, I feel like $1 million. I'm able to share the hard experiences of my life to help other people. I've got my 6 kids. I was able to raise them by myself for the last 11 years. I'm a fortunate man because I have skills, I have an entrepreneur spirit, and I've always been able to make it. I've learned to get help, not to be afraid to ask for help from other people. None of us do it on our own. Of course, 7 or 8, 10 years ago, I was on welfare. If you'd asked me, I'd have said, I'll never be on welfare. I was. That taught me a humility that I couldn't have learned any other way. Now I understand why people get there, how they get there. I'm not on welfare. I haven't been for a long time. I make 6 figures. I raise my kids, and we have a wonderful life. It's the most fulfilling thing when I can watch my kids. They work for my company, and watch them grow and watch them learn as I did when I was young, and I can help them along. We have a wonderful relationship. I spend a lot of time with them, and as I said, they work for me. We talk as men, the boys and I. My daughter, I can teach her about how men are and how she needs to take care of herself and respect and value herself so she can find a good man that she can have kids with and live the life she's dreamed of, if that is what she desires. So my life is fantastic today because of all the seemingly tragic and terrible things that I went through. And it was heartbreaking, it was depressing, it was discouraging. Thought about biting the bullet once or twice, but I got through it. I got up, I never gave up, and I kept moving forward. And today I'm reaping the rewards and the benefits of the persistence, the tenacity, the perseverance that I learned from my father. So how can you beat that? I got a wonderful life today because of all that stuff. So there you go. There's 2 forms of stories. What story are you telling yourself about your work, about your women, about your family, about your life, about your future? What is your story? Write it down. Write it down how you want it to be as if it were today. Yeah, it's going to seem silly when you first start saying it, but if you continue to repeat it over and over and over again with emotion, twice a day, 5 times a day, with affirmations directed towards accomplishment of your goal, eventually it will come to pass. How do you think people become successful? You think they're overnight successes? No, many of these overnight successes have been trying to become a success for years and years, 10, 20, 30 years. There are no overnight successes. And if someone does pop up overnight, which is rare, it's the outlier. Many times you will see them fall down overnight. They will self-sabotage and destroy everything they had because they do not have the level of consciousness to maintain this overnight success. So waiting time is not wasted time. Waiting time is building your character. Don't bitch about it. Don't complain about it. God's time is not your time. Now, I'm not a religious guy, so I like to use the word God because it's easier than saying divine intelligence, universe, higher self, etc., etc. Put whatever name you want on it. Call it Luis. I don't care. That's what Wayne Dyer used to say. Whatever works for you. I don't understand it. I just know that there's a power within me, and that power lies within you that can lead us to everything we desire. You just have to learn how to program that. Your conscious mind is the programmer. Your subconscious mind is the one that creates the reality that you program it with. What are you programming your subconscious powerhouse with? Complaints? Whatever you complain about, you bring about. Or are you talking about what you desire as if you already have it? Yeah, that seems silly to some people. It may seem silly to yourself, but your words are your wand. Your words create your future. Words are vibratory. Say it over and over long enough, it will become a reality in your life. Think about that. That's all I have time for today. I'm going to get out of here. If you would like to get my help personally, marksinspiration.com is my website. I'd love to help you out. Check it out. Take care. Have a wonderful day.